My name is John Green, and welcome to Collision Class Global Past. In this episode, we're going to be discussing the rise of Russia. According to scientific discoveries, Russia is right here. This will probably be the only episode of the series. I'm here today with my comrade, Tyson here, and this guy.
We'll also be joined by Sajan, who is currently interviewing Russian history expert Adrien at the moment. In today's video, we'll be discussing politics under Tsars, westernization, and common themes.
Now, maybe a common question to ask, why is Russia so big? According to this map right here, Russia is about 5 inches in diameter, as compared to the United States, which is only 3 inches in diameter. Now that question will be answered shortly. Let's go to the imagination sphere.
Welcome to the imagination sphere. Previously being under Mongol control, Russia began to emerge as a more central government. Ivan III, also known as Ivan the Great, was a leader who helped this process significantly. He utilized the influence of Orthodox Christianity to liberate much of Russia by 1462, and by the year 1480, negate any form of debt Moscow owed to the Mongols. Russia under Mongol rule had not significantly altered the culture, as they were more interested in tax collection. However, it still inhibited some of the potential Russia could have otherwise had, such as higher levels of literacy. Having expanded somewhat, Ivan III and Ivan the Terrible recruited peasants called Cossacks to expand and push back Mongols who had previously controlled them. These advancements in sparsely populated lands allowed nobles to be rewarded with land as a form of payment. They also allowed East Russia to become culturally diverse. Due to long periods of time without much cultural influence, people wanted more artistic design, so trade started to become more prominent in the West. Italian architecture is shown in some Russian buildings. Ivan the Terrible earned his title in many ways, one of these probably being that he murdered one of his sons in rage and was unable to leave an heir to his throne. A period called the Time of Troubles ensued, which included political disputes as well as Polish attacks. The Romanov dynasty, who emerged in the 1600s, was a particularly strong family of nobles, called boyars. Many individual leaders were not strong, but they allowed unity. The first two leaders, Michael and Alexis Romanov, made changes to the state such as driving out invaders, as well as altering the church system. Any people who still retained old superstitious beliefs were called Old Believers and were exiled.
Anyways, Peter the Great had wrote the document, and during his rule, he and his later son Alexis introduced Western influences into their culture. Peter was an autocrat and copied Western ideas of politics to organization and military. He focused economically on building up Russia's metallurgical and mining industries. Not to mention, he wished to make Russia culturally similar in terms of women freedom and marriages along with state power. Through all of this, however, came hostile responses from the peasants who resented all of this. After Peter's death, Catherine the Great would come and also acted as a westernizer. St. Petersburg was built under Western influences during her rule, and she pursued Russian tradition and expansion. By the time of her death, Russia had hit puberty in terms of development. Hey guys, it's time for the mystery document, and if I get this wrong, I will get a mystery object thrown at me by Sajan standing over there. Send to every gubernia some persons from mathematical schools to teach the children of the nobility, except those of freeholders and government clerks, mathematics and geometry. As a penalty, establish a rule that no one will be allowed to marry unless he learns these. Inform all prelates to issue no marriage certificates to those who have ordered to go to schools. The Great Sorvain has decreed, in all the gubernias, children between the ages of 10 and 15 of the nobility, of government clerks and lesser officials, except those of freeholders, must be taught mathematics and some geometry. Towards that end, students should be sent from mathematical schools, several to each gubernia, to prelates and to renowned monasteries to establish schools. During their instructions, these teachers should be given food and financial remuneration of 3 altins and 2 dengas per day from the gubernia, set aside for that purpose by personal orders of His Imperial Majesty. No fee should be collected from students. When they have mastered the material, they should be given certificates written in their own handwriting. When the students are released, they ought to pay 1 ruble for each their training. Without these certificates, they should be not allowed to marry or receive marriage certificates. I have no idea what this document is. I don't know. Battle of the Louisiana Purchase. I don't know.
It's time for the open letter, but first let's check the secret compartment. Oh, cool, no wait. Vodka. Dear Russia, vodka is an important part of Russian history, even today because it's one of the most common exported goods. Trade back in the 1700s was crucial to the economy as a whole. Western merchants would bring manufactured luxury goods of the aristocratic lifestyle, in return, Russian raw materials. This would support the expanding Russian state and population of 36 million. However, the peasants got poorer and the conditions worsened as the aristocrats got richer, and soon this led to protests. I cry for Russia. Best wishes, Han Verde. My name's Sajan, and I'm here to talk about 17th and 18th century Russia. So basically what happened is that the nobles grew more power over the time, and with their power, they made the farmers their slaves by making them go in debt. So the farmers came in debt, and they basically lost all their land and had to work for the nobles for free, which kind of sucks. But and then there was a huge rebellion, and then all of this will be explained later in depth in the next scene. Okay, I'm here with Russian history expert Ellen DeGenerate to ask her some questions on Russia, which I could not find because it's really boring, and I have no motivation. Question number 1. What was one of the primary limitations on the expansion of agricultural economy, and why was it significant?
I think one of the limitations on expansion was the lack of motivation, because people knew that the extra profit just went to the lords.
Okay then. Question number 2. What was the Pugachev Rebellion, and how did it affect Russia?
It was a rebellion against state authority and serfdom that began in the early 1770s against Catherine II. A man named Emelian Pugachev led the rebellion, led an army of 2,000, and it ended serfdom, taxation, military conscription, and landed aristocracy.
Okay, that was great, but question number 3, final question. Who had the most important roles in Russia in the 1700s?
I believe it was the nobles, because they had the money from growing crops and power from the farmers and the soldiers they could buy. The more farmers that went in debt, the more nobles got richer. The government didn't stop them either, because they would make them very unhappy. Them being unhappy would lead to taking over the government. With nobles getting richer, they started to spend their money on luxury items.
Okay then.
I have retrieved a video from the heart of Russia showing how the nobles lived. Would you like to see? There it is.
Time for me to blast.
Done. I'm going home.